After week one of the Alliance of American Football, we saw 8 teams play. I want to rank every single team. We'll start with the worst, leading all the way up to the best. So we'll start with the worst team I saw in week one of the Alliance of American Football. It was the Atlanta Legends. Completely disorganized. They busted coverages. They missed blocks. Had poor execution. They had a lack of effort in the fourth quarter. And they got physically dominated. All of that is terrible. It's because of, I think, their turmoil at head coach and turmoil at offensive coordinator. But the worst team in the Alliance of American Football is, in fact, the Atlanta Legends. Number 7, the second worst team in the AAF, is the Memphis Express. They got shut out by the Birmingham Iron 26-0. Look, they're not the reason why they're not the worst team in the AAF, despite what it might look in the box score, is they had some bad breaks. They had some bad calls, some unfortunate breaks. They had a touchdown called back, had a big catch by the Birmingham Iron that probably shouldn't have been called, but there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it. Here's the big problem with the Memphis Express. Their defense is solid. I was actually impressed. The problem is they didn't get any help from their offense. The Memphis Express's offense is awful. They ran the ball literally 12 times in a row, and they never used play action. They never did anything creative. They were super predictable, and they don't trust their quarterbacks. The Memphis Express are going to have a really long season as long as they don't put their quarterbacks in position to succeed, which they haven't so far. And that is why the Memphis Express are the second worst team in the entire Alliance of American Football. Number 6, the third worst team, number 6 out of 8. The San Diego Fleet are in trouble. They're not awful. I think this is the team, if any team has a massive improvement that starts at the bottom and quickly moves up to the top, it will be the San Diego Fleet. That's because of their head coach, Mike Martz. Mike Martz has a brilliant offensive scheme. The problem is Mike Martz's offense relies on execution. It relies on players adhering to really fine details and following a very strict plan. And look, let's just be honest, there's a reason why players in the Alliance of American Football are not in the NFL. They couldn't follow those plans on other teams. And so we saw the San Diego Fleet miss blocks, they missed assignments. And this might improve with time, we don't know. But right now, they're always going to be limited by their quarterback. Mike Bercovici, the guy they started on Saturday, really struggled. Who knows? Philip Nelson might be the answer. I don't know. But right now, the San Diego Fleet are in trouble. They're the third worst team in the Alliance of American Football. Now we're starting to get into teams that are solid. We'll start with this. The fifth best team, number 5 out of 8 in the Alliance of American Football, are the Salt Lake Stallions. They're coached by Dennis Erickson. Here's what I saw that I really liked. They have a great offensive line. And I really like their quarterback, Josh Woodrum. The problem was Josh Woodrum got injured at halftime. They're really well matched with the Arizona Hotshots until their quarterback got hurt. I'm really curious. If any team, so I think the San Diego Fleet can improve the most from week 1 to 10. But if any team surprises us and goes from a loss to the Hotshots to really fantastic at the end of the year, it could be the Salt Lake Stallions because of their quarterback. If their quarterback's healthy, they look really good. And when their quarterback's not healthy, they really don't. And so that's the theme we're going to see all through the entire season. I think that's really, we got to talk about that now, is really, really bad teams could elevate with quarterback changes. And really, really good teams right now after 1 week could be terrible if their quarterback gets hurt. This entire league centers around needing to have good quarterbacks. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're really going to struggle and not going to have a lot of success in the Alliance of American Football. Number 4, the fourth team out of 8, the Arizona Hotshots. I was really impressed. A lot of teams have the Arizona Hotshots number 1 in their power rankings. I was impressed by their offense. I like their quarterback, John Wolford. He looked fantastic. He made a lot of great throws. Here's what I liked about John Wolford the most. John Wolford knew when not to throw the ball. He knew when to throw it away. He knew when to run the ball instead of forcing it into coverage. That's the advantage of having an experienced quarterback like John Wolford, who clearly has a great understanding of defenses. Their offensive line also gave him a lot of time. It's very possible that the Arizona Hotshots have the best quarterback in the entire league. Rashad Ross had 5 catches for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. And again, they have probably also the best kicker in the Alliance of American Football with Nick Folk. The third best team. We're now into the top 3 teams. I'll start with the number 3. The Orlando Apollos are my third best team in the Alliance of American Football. Look, they dominated the Atlanta Legends 40-6. I think a lot of this truly was the Atlanta Legends are actually terrible unless the Orlando Apollos were dominating. But still got to give them credit. They got a great head coach, Steve Spurrier. I like their quarterback, Garrett Gilbert. He had 3 touchdowns for 277 yards, 3 total touchdowns. Garrett Gilbert's a guy who understands it, and I'm excited to watch Orlando down the road. Now, my 2 best teams in the Alliance of American Football are the Birmingham Iron and the San Antonio Commanders. I texted a buddy of mine. He played defensive line in the NFL. And I said, what do you think? What are your thoughts on week 1 of the Alliance of American Football? He has a great understanding of what NFL talent on the offensive and defensive line looks like. He's been there. He played in the training camp for the Cleveland Browns. And in his opinion, he said the best team up front, and I agreed with him. What he did was he just confirmed my beliefs, which I was really glad to hear. The number 1 team in the Alliance of American Football is the San Antonio Commanders. They are the best team in the league. They have a great head coach, Mike Riley. A long time, not only a great guy, long-time Oregon State head coach who's really, really dominant with the Beavers a couple years ago. But they're just a great all-around team. Their offensive and defensive lines are fantastic. Their quarterback, Logan Woodside, looked really, really solid. I think Arizona might have the best overall receiver in the league with 1 receiver, but the best receiving core, the best group of wide receivers in the Alliance of American Football, in my opinion, are the San Antonio Commanders. They have a lot of guys who can win one-on-one matchups downfield, and that is why I think the Commanders are the best team in the Alliance of American Football. That leaves us with the second best team in the league, which is, in fact, the Birmingham Iron. My buddy who played in the NFL said that the Birmingham Iron have a lot of dudes that are fantastic on the offensive and defensive lines, and my analysis was they have the best quarterback in the entire league, Luis Perez. Luis Perez is not... He's not flashy. He's not a guy that a lot of people look to and go, that guy's amazing. But he really was. His decision-making, his ability to put the ball in the right spot repeatedly. Luis Perez, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in this league. Their running back is former number 3 overall pick, Trent Richardson. And he started slow but had 2 touchdowns in the end. And I think they might have the best pass protection as well in the Alliance of American Football. Again, in order. The best team in the Alliance of American Football is the San Antonio Commanders. The second best team is the Birmingham Iron. The number 3 team in the Alliance of American Football are the Orlando Apollos. At number 5, we have the Arizona Hotshots. Number 5, the 5th team in the AAF is the Salt Lake Stallions. Number 6, the San Diego Fleet. And in order, we have the Memphis Express are the 7th worst team in the league, and the worst team in the entire Alliance of American Football, I think by a long shot, is indeed the Atlanta Legends. So, guys, those are my power rankings for week 1 of the Alliance of American Football. I hate doing this. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I really don't like self-promotion. It makes me feel like a used car salesman. But I got to do it. So if you don't know, this is my podcast, Strong Opinion Sports. It's my favorite thing in the world. And you can subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud. You can find it on YouTube. You can find the full entire hour-long podcast on YouTube. You can also find shorter breakout clips like the one you just watched. Please do me a favor. If you like anything I had to say, maybe you hate me and you're mad about something, share this podcast with your friends. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want to do. Help me grow by telling your friends about this show.